I'm Emily P. Freeman, and welcome to The Next Right Thing. You're listening to episode 379. This is a podcast about making decisions, but also about making a life. If you struggle with decision fatigue, chronic hesitation, or if you just need a few minutes away from the constant stream of information and the sometimes delightful but distracting hum of entertainment, you're in the right place for discerning your next right thing. I'm an author, a spiritual director, and an occasional workshop leader. I live in North Carolina with my family, and through my work, I've helped thousands of spiritually thoughtful people overcome decision fatigue so that they can discern their next right thing in faith, work, and life. Before we begin today's episode, I wanted to let you know that I will be back for one more bonus episode in December as we usher in the Advent season, but today will be our final regular episode of 2025. As you may know, we've been experimenting with various changes on the podcast. One is that we have added episodes to YouTube this season. You can check out episodes 368 through 379 all on YouTube right now, where you can watch my face say these words. Some listeners have let me know that they were surprised to learn how much they enjoyed watching the podcast, as they did not think that that would be something that they would necessarily like. But the second change that we've made is to adopt more of a seasonal rhythm to the podcast. For nearly 8 years, we released an episode every single Tuesday, minus a couple of summer breaks with Psalm Summer and then some best of episodes. For now, we're trying something new again by creating about 12 episodes per season, which means our fall 2025 season is coming to an end. After our bonus Advent episode coming up next month, we will be back to the podcast, but it won't be until probably late winter, very early spring, with new episodes for 2026. If you want to know where to find me, I'm in all the usual places. I will continue to send out my end-of-month letter. If you don't get that, you can sign up for free. It's at emilypfreeman.com/letter. And I also write weekly on Substack at The Soul Minimalist. That, as well as the Quiet Collection app, are two places that I've been putting more of my creative energy lately. So I would love to have you join me there. And then while I'm talking about places where I'm going to be, I will be in person in Kansas City in very early February at the Beloved Women's Conference. Cole Arthur Riley will be the other keynote speaker at this event, and you can join in person or online. To learn more, check out resurrection.church/beloved. We will also have a link in the show notes. You can just click on that. We'll make it real easy. Well, now on to today's episode, where I want to hold the question for us. What does it look like for us to participate in hope? Listen in. It's late February, and I'm driving a rental car through the busy streets of Houston, looking for a church I've never been to, filled with people I've never met. It's the first day of a retreat that I'm attending specifically for pastors, priests, and guides. I'm activated in that new experience, new place kind of way, excited for potential connection, for respite, curious about the format, nervous about not knowing anyone, and honestly, quietly longing for God. Since I first heard about this retreat, I've wanted to attend one. While its roots go back to 2016, it started in its current form in 2019 in New York City, led by Aaron Nyquist and others who wanted to host a diverse, ecumenical gathering for exhausted spiritual leaders who were looking for holy space, spiritual guidance, and new personal practices. Now, according to the website for the retreat, their core passion is three-pronged: to provide a safe space for leaders to slow down and learn concrete practices that dip them back into God's healing river. I love that. Second, it's to meet and encourage others on a similar journey. And finally, it's to explore and dream about the tools we need to help our communities swim in these deep streams. Well, I'm looking for all of that and likely more, things that I can't even access or fully name. During the 2.5-day retreat in Houston, I'm surrounded by followers of Christ who are warm, weary, and willing to be honest. We are encouraged in our faith. We are reminded of the journey nature of life with God and invited into imaginative and prayerful practice. We are asked questions inspired by Jesus, like the one he asked Bartimaeus, "What do you want me to do for you?" We are invited to imagine ourselves on a road or journey, and then to live into what we see. We are led through liturgy, song, and silence, and there are guides for us to learn from. One of those guides at this retreat is thought leader, writer, former literary agent turned executive editor, Jonathan Merritt. A concept that he presents is one I haven't stopped thinking about for 8 months. He submitted that all hope is not created equal. There is anticipatory hope, which is rooted in the future and says someday, somehow things will get better. This kind of hope, Jonathan says, is fragile as an eggshell. But there is also another kind of hope, and that is participatory hope, which is rooted in the present, sees the broken, and says, here is where we begin. Anticipatory hope crosses its fingers, while participatory hope rolls up its sleeves. And so the question that I've carried for the past 8 months is the one that I submitted at the beginning of this episode, and that is, what does it look like to participate in hope? Friends, this is the question that I want all of us to ask ourselves. The question that I believe we must answer with our lives if we want to create the kind of world that we want to live in. As we make our decisions, parent our children, take care of our neighbors, and cast our votes. As we ask God what is ours to do, as we get honest about desire, as we whisper our prayers and plan for our future. This is maybe what I've been trying to say for 8 years. It's that our spiritual lives, our political lives, our family and faith and vocation, these are not all different things. It's all connected. Going to the grocery store, marching in peaceful protest, planting flowers, laughing with your bestie, it all counts. Because I don't know about you, but no matter what it is that I'm carrying, whether it's an upsetting headline, or when one of my kids is struggling, or when I'm concerned about a test result, so far, wringing my hands has got me nowhere. Absolutely not one where. It hasn't changed a mind. It hasn't helped me sleep. It hasn't brought a moment of peace, not a single one. But hope, the kind I can participate in and with, it's the difference between wringing my hands and rolling up my sleeves. This doesn't mean overfunctioning or overworking or only counting things that look productive, but it does mean living in alignment with who I am and what is true and what I have to offer. Today, if you don't know what to do, ask yourself, what might it look like for me today to participate with hope? And if I don't, what is the alternative? Here's to being people who are willing to roll up our sleeves, even if all we have to offer today is one small move. Even if we don't feel particularly hopeful. Even if we wonder, is this enough? It all counts. And also, by the way, here's to Jonathan Merritt for compelling us toward active hope as we do our next right thing in love. Thanks for listening to episode 379 of The Next Right Thing. I hope this simple practice of participating in hope can be just one more rung on the trellis upon which your rhythm of life can continue to grow. Because while, of course, it's true, this is a podcast about making decisions, the bigger truth is our daily decisions are making our lives. As always, you can find me at emilypfreeman.com or on Instagram at emilypfreeman. This episode was edited by the team at Unmutable and organized by Ashley Sherlock. Now, before we close, check out the show notes for that event in February, where I'll be one of 2 keynote speakers. I mentioned Cole Arthur Riley will also be there in Kansas City. This is an in-person event, but there is a virtual option, so be sure to check out the link in the show notes if you're interested in attending that. Also, a reminder that a brand new Advent collection will be coming to the Quiet Collection app at the end of November. Do not worry, I will come back here to remind you in one final episode of the year, but if you want to be sure not to miss it, go ahead and update the Quiet Collection app so that you'll be sure to get those notifications when it drops. We are in the production stage of it right now, and I have to tell you, I'm really proud of this year's collection. I'm still not tired of doing these, so I hope that you'll show up for it and that it will be a kind companion for you during this Advent season. So stay tuned. In closing, I'll share a few words from Thomas More in his book, The Eloquence of Silence. And this may seem like it doesn't connect with this episode, but I want to share it because it's a reminder that sometimes participatory hope is subtle and quiet. He writes this: "Many people speak too often and say too much. This art of not speaking is a good one to master. Speaking is not as important as people think. Not speaking may be just what is needed. Words not heard often hit the target." Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.